In our last session, we talked about HR value chain. How, as an HR BP, I can create value for the organization, value and impacting business results in with reference to revenue, profits, margins, uh, productivity, etc. Okay, we listed out typically, say, for example, Aarti is doing training and development. Okay, so we said if she does, like, in fact, she gave an example saying that they had conducted some trainings for their, uh, I will say, call center employees, and then they found that there was a lot of improvement in terms of the way they would handle calls. Calls would not be dropped, resolution in much lesser time, and it made an impact in terms of organizational outcomes, impact in terms of productivity, and therefore better margins and better profits, right? Okay, so I will start doing training. Okay, but how do you know that if I do training, I'm going to impact uh, the business outcomes, or if I do engagement, I'm going to impact the business outcomes? So, what you really need to do is not by intuition, but how do we support it with the data? So, that's where data comes in, that's where analytics of data comes in. Okay, so today we'll be dealing with uh, most of the time, how do we make decisions? Is it out of gut feeling, intuition, or are we supporting it through data? A typical example, a very good example would be if your interviewers, your hiring managers, not sufficiently trained in interviewing skills, what happens? How do they take decisions in terms of selection? Anybody? Huh? They're not sufficiently trained how to take interviews. Okay, then what happens? What will be the outcome? Hey, please, guys. Anybody? Aarti or Chanel? Huh?
Oh,
Aarti?
poor hire.
Poor hire, right? So if you have a poor hire, then what happens?
You
Productivity
waste
will
your
get
money.
impacted, and
Absolutely.
you have to look at the
Absolutely.
different another higher. The cost will go high of on that.
Cost will go high.
Yeah.
So business results are impacted.
Yeah.
Okay. So therefore you feel, so how do we, so first of all, to whom do we give training? Identify who are those people who are good interviews or bad interviewers. So therefore, when we start looking at analytics, yesterday we looked at just as is. We looked at there is a value chain even in analytics. So we looked at only prescriptive analytics. Typically, month on month, what happens? HR gives a management committee report. They actually give an update to all the businesses about what? Descriptive analytics, as is in my business units. Number of employees, we looked at a dashboard, right? Number of trainings conducted, number of hires made, number of positions closed. If I have done the performance management cycle is in the process, okay, we are here, number of people who have already been done the goal setting, etc., etc. So this is all just what happened. But when can you make an impact? Only when you look at what has happened historically, the data, the trends, the patterns, analyze the data, and then predict, get insights out of the data. So that's called predictive analytics. I'm predicting. What is predicting? Say, for example, I've been doing sales training, and it's really very, very helpful in terms of increasing the sales people are increasing their sales targets. As a result, the revenues are going up. So I'll say, hey, so what is the insight? Doing sales training, there is a relationship between sales training and increasing of the sales revenue or increasing of sales targets. So therefore, it predicts in the sense that the sales training becomes a predictor, and the response is in terms of the outcomes, which is increase of sales revenue. So I can predict. So you are predicting. That is, you are gaining certain insights. Now, what is prescriptive? That means when you are actually doing an action plan. And what is the action plan? You're conducting sales trainings. That's the action plan. Why have you taken that prescription? Because you have done predictive analytics and you have stated that conducting sales training will increase. There is a relationship between conducting sales training and the increasing of targets, achievement of targets. So therefore, revenue will increase. Therefore, prescriptive is that you are taking action by saying, hey, let's conduct training programs. Okay. So this is the foresight you gain through predictive analytics. So it's a continuum. Like if you actually see here, you will say, so from data, just reporting, consolidating, then you go to a basic analytics, which is operational. Then you start looking at not just one variable, but two variables of data and more variables, multiple variables of data. And then you start predicting. Okay. No, simple. Like, for example, attrition is a very common problem in most of the organizations. Now, when attrition happens, what do I do? Anybody? As a recruitment manager or a hiring manager, what do I do? Anyone? Typically, what happens?
We start hiring on priority. And we also try to see the reason. We do the analysis of why the attrition happens, like we did yesterday's exercise. And then we work on it.
So, Aarti, can I hear your response? Yeah. Typically, when an attrition happens, what happens? What do I do?
We analyze the reason for attrition, why it is happening. And parallelly, we also start hiring on priority.
On priority. Okay. Okay. So typically, what is this action called? Reactive?
Yeah.
I'm just responding to attrition in the sense, hey, I have to rehire, right? Attrition has happened. But what if I know that, typically going by the historical data of 3 or 4 years, yeah, during the months of January, February, March to December, these are the months where I have high attrition. I've done an analysis. Can I predict and be prepared, which is like a proactive?
Yes.
So when I do a proactive measure, what happens? I don't waste buying talent from the market by increasing my recruitment costs, right? I can plan, I can do it very well. So there is nothing like, firefighting. For example, there are high performers. What if the high performer comes and puts in his paper, what happens? Suddenly you start, oh my God, this guy, so I have to look for another talent in the market, buy him at, 2 to 3 times the salary. But what if I know that this guy, my high performers, some of them are actually going to leave the organization? I get an indication, okay, through my early warning system, then what happens? I'm better prepared. I might actually look at negotiating with them, consider what are the reasons. So I will look at my risk score. So therefore, how does analytics help? Analytics helps us by not being reactive and knee-jerk actions, but helps us to be very proactive. So when I'm proactive, what happens? I'm planning better. My impact on business is much better. Got it? Okay, guys? So therefore, when we are talking about analytics, one of the analytics in predictive analytics is correlation. Yesterday, I just mentioned about it. Correlation. What does it mean, correlation? That if there are two variables, like say, for example, what is a correlation? When, say, for example, I'm giving training and performance. So I have collected training data and performance data. So these are two variables. Is there a relationship between these two variables? Supposing I'm increasing my trainings, is the performance going up? Or if there could also be, for example, I'll give you another set. That's called positive correlation. If one variable is going up, is the other variable going up? That's called positive correlation. Now, can you give me an example of a negative correlation? When one variable is going up, okay, like this. Where is negative correlation? When one variable is here, my cursor is here. Can you see this? When one variable is going up, the other variable is going down. Can you give me an example of in the HR?
When the employee engagement is higher, then the attrition will be lower.
Yeah, possible. Absolutely. Very good. Very good. Or for example, KPG does a lot of coaching and counseling. So as I keep increasing my coaching and counseling, the attrition comes down. Or as I'm actually helping people in giving on-the-job training, errors come down. So it is not necessary that it always, you can have only a positive correlation. You can also have a negative correlation. Okay. Now, what is the measure for, I'll show you this slide will be better for you. So this is called correlation. What is the measure? So the measure is from -1 to +1. And as a graph, it will look like this. -1, perfect positive correlation. This is +1. Perfect positive negative correlation. This is -1. Okay. Why? If you notice, all the data points are on the trend line. Have you seen? All the data points are on the trend line. Okay. So this is a perfect correlation. Here, to some extent, high positive correlation. That means it is here. Somewhere between here and here. So from 0 to plus 0.5 is like, a positive, but not a very strong correlation. If it is anything beyond 0.5 to +1, then it is a strong correlation. Like say, for example, a 0.9 is a very strong correlation. But anything here, like 0.010, 0.02, it's weak positive correlation. Anything this side, from between this and this point is a strong negative correlation. So what does it mean? That your data points, like here, it's all on this trend line, but here they are a little scattered. Are you with me? Now, can I show you can you see this picture, my cursor?
Yes, yes.
All spread. So if you actually look at if you put a trend line, there won't be any trend line because here all your data points are spread. Got it? So there is no correlation here. Are you with me?
Yes.
Again here.
I have a little confusion with these two high
Yeah,
positive
please.
correlation and high negative correlation. If I look at the graph, okay, it's
This
going.
one.
No, the
Okay, we'll look at this high positive correlation and high negative. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
So this is in a line, it's a linear representation where we can connect one, two, three dots in a line. That's all. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Don't look at the dots. There is a measure. You will
Yes.
get a measure. You will get a quantified number. Okay, we'll do that now. And by that number, we can say that whether these two variables are correlated or not. Step 1. Then step 2, are they correlated negatively or are they correlated positively? So when they are correlated, what happens? There is a relationship. That relationship could be positive or that could be
Negative.
negative. Got it? Say, for example, there are two interviewers, okay? Ashok and Deepak. I want to know who is a good interviewer, who is a bad interviewer. Okay, let us do the correlation both visually and also through Excel. How do we do it? Now I have two variables, data of two variables, data of interview rating. When the candidates come, the interviewers do a rating and the candidates get a rating, right? And after that, once they go to the business, they also get a performance rating. So I've taken for one Ashok and also for Deepak. Now, for the same list of employees, got it? Now, what do? I do a correlation. How do I do a correlation? Formula, go to FX. Then what will I do? Go to Corel. Then, okay. In correlation, there is nothing like independent, dependent, nothing. So it is array 1 and array 2 or two variables data. So you can choose anyone. It doesn't matter. Okay. So all right.
Ma'am, I have a request. Can you go back and again take this thing? I just skipped it somehow.
Sure, sure. Absolutely no issue. Okay. Can I start from here?
Yes, ma'am,
Yeah.
please.
Huh? Okay. What data do you have? You have two variables data. The rating of the candidates during the interview, and you also have the rating of performance after they have gone into business. Okay. Got it? Now,
Yeah.
what do? Just use a formula called insert function and use a Corel. Corel is for correlation. Then say okay. So then click on that. And before that, let me just cancel because what happens? I want this guy's thing to come here. Okay. Okay. So I just take this now and okay, what do I do now? I say okay. Now what is this correlation here?
Positive.
Positive. But how much is it?
0.1. So it is like strong because it's 0.1. No, is it?
0.1. But your correlation should be
It was
minus
0.5.
1. Okay.
Yeah.
Then through 0. Then
1.
plus
Then
1.
it will be like
Right? So this is absolutely none. Now
yeah.
let me show you. Let me show you a visual one also. Okay. Huh?
Yes.
What do you do? Select. Got it? I select the data. I insert. Right? Then I go to a scatter chart and say this. Right? Okay. These are the data points. Now I click on any. Then you have to follow this because you're going to do an activity also. Do a right click. What can you see? A window opening. Add trend line. Now, when you say trend line, it gives you trend line options of linear log. We are not doing all this. You just say linear. Okay, it's already given you linear. Can you see this? Yeah. Now, display equation. I don't want R square, but I'm just putting it for later on. Let me make it. So can you see the correlation here? That's 0.107. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. forget about R square because I will be teaching you next. What is that? Okay. So it's a very weak. Can you see the line, trend line? And where are your data points? Where are your data points?
It's all scattered.
All scattered. Closer they are, they will give you. So obviously, when one variable is going up, the other variable also goes up. But here it doesn't show. It shows scattered. Okay. Can I delete this?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll just. Okay. Now let me go to the other one. So what do I do now? I just do again. Okay,
Go
do
to
this.
FX.
Then I go to FX. Then go to Corel. Okay, it's already highlighted. Then go to OK. And then do this. Right. Then okay. Then I'll say okay. What is it?
0.64.
So
It's strong,
it's a
strong correlation because it is from a 0.5
yeah, strong.
plus.
I won't say very strong, but strong because it's beyond 0.5. I showed you one scale, one slide. Anything between. So it's positive correlation and it's also a strong correlation. Now I typically do what? Quickly I'll do a scatter graph. How will I do scatter graph?
Insert, go to chart, and select scan.
Now what will I do?
Go to a point, get the cursor there, and it will right click.
Right click and trend line. We can select the entire chart and there is a plus sign there. From
Yeah,
there also
that
I
also you can do.
can take a trend line.
Okay.
There is
So
a
what's the
correlation.
correlation? Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is your correlation coefficient. What is it? 0.64.
6 4.
So can you see now, is there a difference between this trend line and that trend line?
Data is less scattered
Huh?
over here.
Closer, a little closer, right? But if it is 1, then what will happen?
All will fall into the trend line. All dots will fall into
Yes, now you got it. It will be like this then. It will be like this, right? All the data points will be, if it is 1, all the data points will be on that trend line. Are you with me guys now? Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Correlation. Okay. Stop sharing. Now, when is it useful? When can you use correlation? For example, I'm a business HR BP manager, and can you see this very clearly? Huh?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I have a list of employees, okay? And these are the various functional skills, all right? Now I want to improve their performance on the job by giving training. I don't want to go by my gut feeling, saying that maybe if I give, positive body language, it will improve. Or maybe if I give, uh, presenting emotions, well-being, etc., or pursuiveness. So I want to be very, very sure as to which are those skills which are required, and I can actually coach them, mentor them in that, so that they can perform better. So in such a case, what will I do then? How will I take a decision that amongst all these functional skills, which are those key 3 or 4 skills which in which I need to give training so that the performance of these employees improves? What will I do? I will do a correlation. I will do a correlation by collecting data of historical data saying that what are what is their rating or what is their assessment rating vis-a-vis the, like say for example, competitor and trend knowledge, visioning, so and so, etc. So for the for all these functional skills, we have assessed from records like assessment records, performance, etc. And have given, you need to have quantitative data. Without that, you can't do. So we have assessed, and then these are those what ratings. Okay. Along with this, I also have their performance rating from the confidential records or performance appraisal reports. Got it? This is the performance rating. Can you see that? 4, 3, 5, 4, 2, 3, 4. And for every employee, these are those ratings for what? For all these functional skills. Now, I will do correlation for all of them and then look at which of those skills have highest correlation, and I'll take those first 3 or 4 functional skills which have high correlation, and then I will actually plan training for those. Got it? Did you get, hey, any response? Yeah. Are you with me, guys? What? Okay. So you have this sheet, right? Okay. What I will do, I will stop sharing. One of you uh, put it on the screen, and it will be like a group activity. One of you start doing, and if you are stuck, I will help you. Will that help? Or all of you want to do it at your laptops? While one of you is doing on the screen, the rest can also do. Also, but I will just show you the long method first. You don't have to do the long method, but then at one click, you can actually, um, drop it down, and then you will get the correlation for everything. Yeah. Can I help you?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yeah.
how do you go about to calculate correlation? What you need to do is you need for correlation 2 sets of data, right?
Yeah.
One is
Yeah.
you have performance data here, and you also have a rating for all the functional skills. So what do you do? Put Corel.
Okay.
I mean, FX. No.
Uh,
You will
I'll
have to, yeah.
I'll do the
Go to
cell.
formula. Go to
Yeah.
formula.
Okay. I'm going to
Huh?
formula.
Then click on insert function. Go to Corel.
Yeah.
A quick way is statistical, and then you will get Corel.
Yes.
Even if you write there, there it is. I can see Corel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Say okay.
Okay.
Now you have array 1, array 2. In array 1, you can put data of the first functional skill for all employees. That means horizontally you will have to, not vertically.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've done.
Okay.
And
Then
then
array 2 will be your performance data again.
yeah.
Horizontally.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It is weak correlation, ma'am.
So where would you like to put?
Yeah, here. Here.
That's a bit. Okay, done. So accordingly, yep.
It's a weak correlation, ma'am.
Absolutely. So do it for the rest, but I will tell you now how to do it for, what you can do is also, yeah, you have to do for another one, visioning.
Yeah.
I want everybody to do that so that maybe it will be easier for you if you put this somewhere below so that you can drag. Otherwise, yeah. Now I'll tell you another shortcut method how you can do.
What happened? I think. Um, just a second. It is also weak, ma'am.
Yeah. So just pause. Okay. This is one way. What is the one way? That you are actually looking at each and every 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and calculating the correlation. Another method would be, putting the correlation as the next row, and
Mhm.
dragging it, putting your dollar signal, dollar sign, and you drag it. You get correlation at one go for all your functional skills from 2 to 25.
So all
Anybody? Yeah.
here,
Who
dollar sign over
No,
here,
no, not here. You need to do it in an Excel, not here. Huh?
not here. Oh, okay, it will not work.
You
Ma'am,
need to
if
do it
I
in an
do
Excel.
like this, it will not work. No, it will not
It
work.
will, you see, you can do it individually. You are doing individually, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but it should work, no, ma'am. It is.
Do it.
Yeah, just
Are
like
you getting
right
it?
now, if you see, I have
Uh,
applied this formula where
uh.
this particular row has taken, and okay. So here
No,
is
no,
the
the
problem.
data of all your others have to. So
Yeah,
it won't work. It won't work.
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Here it
But
will
this is
work.
on a, yeah.
Now, ma'am, if I scroll down, it will work, ma'am. Because I
Okay.
have
Okay.
locked this cell, this performance cell
Yeah.
has been
Yeah.
locked, and
Okay.
this cell
Done.
is not locked. So now I
Okay.
can take it for all of them.
See, one cell you can lock. This 20 performance data, 26 can be locked because it's the
Ah,
same for everything, right?
right, ma'am.
Great. Yeah, good. Wonderful. So I hope everybody has got this. I mean, the funda, how to be done. Lovely. Soumya is also saying great. So now identify which are those three functional skills you will need to do training.
So where we are getting high correlation.
So the highest is actually 0.68, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Then 0.5856. Then there is one more 0.57. There's one more 0.51, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So what are they? They are business drivers and planning, articulate, perseverance, has a good ability to coach people effectively, culture of learning and improvement. So these are those key 4 skills which, if you give training, you will see what? Better impact. There is a relationship. Are you with me, guys? Great. Okay. Very good work done, Suchana.
Thank you,
Very
ma'am.
nice work. So can you quickly do, can another person, if you have a laptop, I gave 2 assignments, but we'll only work on one for correlation. Can you just quickly put that up?
Another sheet.
So this is clear, everybody? Yeah, looks like everybody's clear about it. Okay, Aarti is wanting to.
Should I share my screen, ma'am?
Sure, sure. You know what happens when you do it? You can go back and do it better.
Sure.
It reinforces. It's actually disturbing me, huh? No, this is you have done this, Aarti. Now
Yeah.
we will, you know how to do it, right? So I
Yeah.
wanted someone else to do the next, another. I actually sent one more for correlation.
Okay. So we have
Vilma must have sent you 1 second. Yeah, yeah.
this one.
Yes. Because I also want to show you
Oh,
some
this is
other variables, how you can look at correlation there.
not able to open it. Why?
Is
Open
that
it.
ESAT Excel? That is the one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Enable editing कर दो, हो जाएगा. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
While Aarti is also doing, others also can do parallelly. Okay. Yeah. If you can just
Little bit
okay. Yeah. If I can see then at least the fields
big
of the
data,
data, you know.
ma'am.
If
This is 44, 44
it's
entries
okay.
are there.
It's okay. At least let me see what we have. We have uh, salary data, means salary percentile level. Typically, compensation is calculated in terms of percentiles, 80th percentile, 90th percentile. So that is salary data. Performance standard can be seen as performance rating. Okay. Then number of years of experience. And you also have ESAT. So just looking at this data, ESAT data. So we want to see, is there any correlation between uh, employee satisfaction and performance rating? If your employees are, highly motivated, does it go to say that, their performance rating goes up? So maybe you could look at these two sets of data. ESAT will only do one. ESAT and performance standard. So what will you do? You can, if you want, select the data and put it in another sheet, or just go to Corel. Okay. Array 1 can be your ESAT data and array 2 can be your performance rating data. Can we look at that?
Yeah. Where did I go?
Just type Corel, it will come out. It's
Yes.
already there. Your employee satisfaction data. Yeah.
But I have to check where I have put my cursor because it will come there, ma'am. Let me check once
So
again.
you have to click on that 4.35.
Yeah, I will just put my cursor here so that the data comes here.
Then your
Yeah. Formulas. And now array 2 performance standards.
yep.
0.
Okay. Yeah. So your correlation is 0.2. It's a very weak correlation, right? So what do you have to say about it? Saying that, is there a relationship between if your ESAT score and performance rating? Not much. People can write anything, but in true sense, it doesn't really go up. Would you also like to look at a visual scatter graph?
Yeah.
Or no, then you will have to merge
Yes, ma'am.
performance standard and
We cannot
you
do
have
it.
to.
Yeah.
Now you can do by
Yeah.
merging, you're hiding that C and D rows.
Mm-hmm. Scattered.
See, if you want a scatter graph, you have to select the data, right?
Okay.
Okay. So if you want to select the data performance standard and ESAT, you'll have to hide the data which is in the D
Yeah.
row.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now just select the data.
Shall I also select these descriptive terms,
Then it
performance?
will, you can select, because then it will
It
label,
will
give you
show.
the
Yeah.
labels. Yeah. Go to insert. Oh, you have already the scatter. Okay, if you want, you can make it a little bigger. Yes. Now come to the data points. Click on any data point and then do a right click. Click on that and do a right click. Okay. Add trend line. Okay. Now you will have this trend line options, right? Then keep scrolling down. You will just keep scrolling down that format trend line. No, format trend line. Yeah. Yeah. Further. Just still scroll down. Scroll
Yeah.
down. Scroll down further. Display equation on chart. Click on that. Check or check that. Okay. Now make that bigger if you want.
Yeah, I can make it bigger. Is it fine, ma'am?
Yeah. So you can see your trend line, and you can also see that, your correlation coefficient. Okay. And how your data is spread. It's not, you can actually make out, that there is no correlation, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Right,
the
ma'am.
rest of it, all of you can do it at home. We won't do here. Okay. Done. Any clarifications? Because then we will go to regression, which will take a little more time. Now you know correlation, how to do.
Yeah.
So when do you use correlation? You need to have two sets of data. You want to establish relationship between those data. So then you will actually look at correlation. And what is the measure for correlation? -1 through 0 to +1.
That one.
When you have perfect positive, it is 1. When you have perfect negative, it is -1. When there is no correlation, it is
See,
fill in the blanks, it is 0.
ma'am, when Suchna was doing this exercise on her laptop, he also did this shortcut wala wo bhi. I want to do that as well.
But that shortcut is only for that huge data. You want to do that?
Okay. Yeah,
Huh?
yeah.
Because you had to calculate for each functional skill. But instead of calculating, which will take a long time, you could actually put a $sign, and she locked one row, because the one row was constant. Performance data was constant. The other array data was only changing. So you could do that.
Yeah. It was horizontal also. Yeah, correct, ma'am. Understood.
Okay.
Hmm.
Otherwise, you would have taken so much of time calculating for every competency. And Suchana did a great job by saying quickly, okay, let me scroll down. All right. Okay. Now, if you can, we'll quickly go to that. Yeah. Aarti,
Yeah.
I need to share now. Huh?
Yeah. Okay, sure.
Okay. Okay. So what we spoke was correlation. Correlation is also one of the predictive analytics technique. But correlation only shows that there is a relationship, but it does not predict. Please remember, it does not predict. It only establishes relationship, but it does not say that one variable has a dependency on the other. Now, when you want to predict, for example, okay, all this we did. We'll go to straight. When you want to predict, what we do, we actually then do another technique called regression. This is also statistical technique. Regression, you do it in Excel. For example, what is regression? You have two variables, just like correlation, where it is array 1 and array 2. But here, one is an independent variable, what we call it also as a IV, and the other is a dependent variable, DV. Now, what is this independent and dependent variable? For example, I have a plant in my house, and every day I'm putting some fertilizer. What will happen to the plant? What will happen to the plant?
Okay.
Initially, it will grow and then it will die.
It will grow. So that means the growth is dependent on what?
Fertilizer.
On the fertilizer or the water. So, so which is the dependent variable and which is the independent variable? The growth is the dependent variable because it is dependent on the fertilizer. Fertilizer is an independent variable. Got it? Now you can also call independent variable as a what? Predictor and response. But normally I prefer to call it as independent variable and dependent variable. Okay? So independent variable is always in Excel, you use it like X, and dependent variable is Y. Okay. Say, for example, why is regression so important? And in fact, we use it in HR a lot when we are doing training, compensation, etc. For example, you know, it's raining a lot. And then what happens? There is a shopkeeper who's also selling umbrellas. So, depending on the amount of rain, you can actually predict the sales of the umbrellas. It helps you to. So, there is a independent variable which is rain and dependent variable which is the sales. Okay, very clear? Okay. How do we do it? Now, again, when we are calling a regression, so if this is data, we looked at trend line, right? So this is also called my line of best fit. Again, when there is a perfect regression, what happens? All these these data points are all on this line. How is it measured? How is regression measured? Let me just show you. One second. No, 1 second. Let me go straight to the data. That's better for me. Because if I show you this, it won't work. Just give me a minute, guys. Okay. All of you can see my data?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
No. Okay. Yeah. You can't see. Sorry. Just I will close and I have to share it. Okay. Sorry. Share. Yeah. And now can you see my data?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, everybody? What can you see? What kind of data can you see? Age and salary? Huh?
Yes.
Age and
Salary.
salary. Okay, I'll go to actually education and salary. You will have it better. Okay. So I want to know whether, you know, so I'm looking at two sets of data here. What is that? The score which I have given 5, 10, it's actually the number of years of education. Okay. That whether with the number of years of education, does the salary go up? And if so, does it mean that then I can predict that by the number of years the education goes up, then even the salary goes up? So I want to predict whether if I increase the education, should the salary also go up? So first, what will I do? I will do regression. So which will be my independent variable X?
Education score.
Absolutely. Oh my God. Huh? Great. I'll put education score will be my X. That is independent variable. And dependent variable will be
Annual salary.
salary, obviously. So before doing regression, I need to check whether there is a correlation or whether there's a relationship or a correlation. So how will I do correlation? obviously, 1 second. Okay. Quickly, I will do this insert function. Okay. Coral and okay. Is there a strong correlation?
Yes.
Yeah. So that means there is good correlation. So let me now do the regression. How will I do regression? Very easy. What do I do? There are two ways of doing it. Let me delete this. There are two ways of doing it. We'll do the a little long way.
Data.
One is formula. Okay. Insert function. So I have to calculate two values for regression. What is that value? One is called the slope. Okay. All right. Y. So Y will be
Why will be
salary.
salary?
Salary.
Okay. And X will be my
Education.
Education score.
okay. All right. So this is the I'll write here slope. All right. Slope. Now, next is I have to calculate. Okay. Now I have to calculate intercept. Can you see intercept here?
Yeah, the fourth one.
Okay. Known wise. Known axis.
Education score.
Okay. All right. So this is my intercept value. Intercept value. Okay. Now, what are we trying to do? What is the regression? Now, just see what I am doing. I can also, now I'll give you the formula, but first let me show you. Okay. Now, where I go? Insert. Then data. No, I'll only go first insert. Then scatter. Scatter. Okay. Click on this. Add trend line. Then 1 second. Display equation, display R square. Yes. Can you see this? I'll pull this up. Okay. Now there is a formula. What we call it as y intercept is equal to we learn in class 8th, 9th. What is it? AX, okay, plus B. Now, what is A? A is slope. What is B? B
B.
is
Intercept.
intercept. Wow. And X is my what value? X is the, it could be point value, it could be education score value. Okay. Now, if I want to calculate, for example, that for if a person has 20, say 15 years, okay, here, 10, 8 years of education, what should be his salary? What will I do? What is the slope? slope multiplied by x. X will be by number of years of education plus intercept. And it will give me the salary. Did you get it, guys? What is the formula? AX plus B, where A is the intercept, A is the slope, X is the education score, and B is the intercept. So this is the formula. Now, what is R square here? Can you see what is R square here? 0.63.
Yeah.
Now, in a regression, the measure for regression is 1. Or it is 100%. What does it show when you talk about R square? That means 63% of your annual salary is dependent on the education score or number of years you've spent. And the other, what is it? 63. So 100 minus 63 will be 37. 37% will be other factors. Okay, so there are many ways of doing this. You can also use a data analytic tool and do the regression. I'll just show you the data analytics tool to do the regression. Okay, let me just cut this, delete. Yeah. Okay, do I have a data analytics or should I not? Okay, let me first delete all this. All right. What do I do to download the data analytics tool? File, then
Options.
options. Then I go to
Add-ins.
add-ins. Then I go to my analysis toolpack. Then I will say, please follow all the steps. Excel add-ins. Then I will say, okay. What happened? Let me go there. Okay.
Now you have to refresh, then it will show.
Okay. Chalo. Add-ins. Analysis toolpack. Excel add-ins. Okay. And okay, where is it? Should I refresh?
Yes, ma'am.
I think you need to select go.
No. I know what to do. Just go to data. Can you see it?
Okay,
Yes.
Yeah. Now, click on this. Now, if you look at it, do you have regression here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Click on this. Okay. Now, this is the interesting part. How will you input? What does it say? Input Y range. So, which is my Y range?
Salary.
But I'm also taking the labels because I'm going to do a check on the labels as well. Okay. All right. Now, input X range.
Education score.
Okay. Now, since I've taken labels as well, and typically confidence level is 95%. Okay. You want it in a new workbook. We'll have it in a new workbook. Done. All right. Okay. Now you can see clearly. Now let me just explain to you. Okay. Now, when you take an output from here, from the data analytics tool, you get an output like this. It is into 3 parts. It gives you regression statistics, it gives you ANOVA, and it gives you coefficients. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Can you see data? Your output is in 3 parts. One is regression statistics, the other is ANOVA, and the other is coefficients. Okay. What can you see in regression statistics? Multiple R square. I'll just explain them. Adjusted square, standard error, and observations. Multiple R is what? Correlation coefficient. Did we get this when we did in the other way? This one, 0.79?
Yes.
Yeah? Hmm? Nobody's saying yes or no. Maybe.
Yes,
I know
ma'am.
you did. Huh?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. We did this
Right?
exercise.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. So this is correlation coefficient. That is, there is a correlation, there's a relationship which exists between both the variables. Okay. R square is the regression. That means 63% of the response or the dependency is on the number of years of education. And the rest of it is 37% is dependent on other variables. This is clear? R square. So a perfect R square is 1. That means 100%. But it never happens that way. So when you will see, I will change the data. You will see if it is 80%, 90%, the data points become closer and closer to the trend line. They become tighter. I'll show you that also visually. Okay. Adjusted R square. This becomes relevant only when you are using one or more than one independent variables. Okay. How many independent variables do we use here? Only one, right? But sometimes what happens, you want to use 2 or 3 independent variables. Then this adjusted R square. So therefore, you will see that this R square and also the adjusted R square are almost similar. Okay. Standard error. Lower the standard error, better the model. Okay. Observations 13. Now, what do you look at? To look at this, that is a very good predictable model. I need to look at p-value, or it's also called significance F. If there are more than 2 independent variables, then significance F comes into play. Or else, if there's only one independent variable, p-value and significance F are almost the same. Okay. So typically, your p-value should be less than or equal to 0.05. Okay. Then it's a good predictable model. Now, if you see, you can also see in your coefficients, intercept value is the same. Okay. And slope value is also the same. So this is a very good predictive model, not so very good because it's only having 63%. So by doing regression, what is that you can actually predict? By increasing the number of years of education, you can predict what salary you should be giving. Now, I'm sure you want to know what is a slope and what is the intercept, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Intercept. Let me just select this data, go to data, no, sorry, go to insert, go to charts and take a scatter. Now, let me make this a little bigger as well. Let me do it here also. Okay. Now we'll look at a trend line and add a trend line. And display equation and display this. We'll pull this out. Okay. Now, what are you seeing? You are seeing that your data points are here and they are little scattered, not very tight. Okay. Say, for example, I'm going to change some data here. Can you see that the R square is changing. Can you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Just 15 years. Let me make it 67. 51. So what has happened to the R square? Has it become lesser or more?
It become more.
R square is how much?
More.
It has become
More.
lesser. No, see, R square is 51%. That means the dependency on the education score is only 51%. So
Okay.
just look at this data. For example, this data point, somebody is getting how much? 50,000. But what is the number of years of experience?
20.
How much? My cursor is
20.
here. 20.
20.
20. Can you see that this person is getting 55,000 approximately, but what would be the experience here for 12, 13 years?
12, 13.
No? So the salary is not fair. For example, who are the outliers? Say, for example, this person is getting he is at a 15 years, okay? But the salary is about 35. But this person is getting about 40 or 38, but he is about, so there is inequity. There's not much of fairness. Let us try to increase the salary of people with higher experience. Now just see how it will go on. Okay. Now 20 years. Let me make it 85, 0. A person with 15 years of experience, okay, should be at least getting 60, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0. And let me reduce this by 1, 4, 1, 2, okay. So 1, 3, 10. Okay. Wait. 11. Okay. 7. 6. Okay. All right. Can you see that the data points have shifted? Higher the R square, the data points are coming closer, tighter to the trend line. So this is called a line of best fit. Now, having said that, when I draw this line, let me do an annotate here. Line. Okay. Yeah. Say for example, when I'm drawing this, okay. So when we say y, so you have two values to be calculating, slope and intercept. Okay. So what is intercept? When this line of best fits cuts into this. So this is called the y-intercept. So the value of y when the slope is or the x is 0. What is the value of y when your x is 0? Because this is x and this is y. Are you with me, guys? Yeah,
Yes.
please tell me, because I know it is a little difficult to understand. So the value of y when x is 0. And what is slope? The increase in y with what? With the change in the x by 1 unit. That is called slope. Like, for example, you can see the slope. In typical word, this is the slope. Okay. So when you actually work, I want somebody to work with the data, and then you will be able to understand this better. I will stop sharing, and I want one of you to show me the screen where you have the regression to be worked at, and we will do it together so that you are hands-on. Okay? Who wants to take a turn by sharing the screen and we can work on regression? Yeah? Aarti, Suchana,
can-
you want to share? Huh?
Yeah, I can share. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Share the regression data. Okay.
Yes. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have to share the other one. Okay. So
Okay.
once you learn this, then you'll have to do both the assignments later
Yeah.
on when you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have done for this one. This one, no. Mm, yeah, I've
No,
done
no.
for
First, let us take the pay line salary. Yeah.
pay line salary. Okay. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Okay. So anybody, yeah, the group can help me in. What is the data about? Can you show what's the data about? So you have here the data shows there are certain positions in the organizations, right? And the
Yes.
positions are what? Engineer, senior engineer, assistant manager. This is what a comp data. Got it? So you are an HR business partner and you want to ensure that there is fairness in the way we are paying uh, salaries to these positions. Okay. So what are you trying to get first? You are looking at these positions, and then through a job evaluation exercise, I'm sure if you're all HR people, you must have studied job evaluation where you evaluate the job. It can be various methods. So when you evaluate a job through point method, you get point values, quantified points, total point value of the job. So the total point value of the job here for an engineer is how much?
115.
115. Okay. The total point value of CEO is how much?
400. Sorry, 500.
500. Higher the points,
Higher the salary.
higher the worth of the job, right? And therefore pay higher salary. Got it? So when you get a data like this point value, you will either arrange it in ascending or descending order. So first make sure your data is in ascending or descending order. Is it in ascending and descending order?
It is.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
absolutely. So you have so your range is the point value 115 to 500. Next, you have also brought to make sure you have also then looked at market data. Typically, when you benchmark, what do you do? Say, if I want to pay a certain amount to an engineer position in my company, I want to first of all check what is the market paying, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So you are also looking at market value. So where do you get market data? You actually look at, if you are, there'll be published data. You can do a salary survey, or you can also look at the Glassdoor and a couple of other free data sites, salaries. There is something like, salary survey data. So you will get the salaries. And typically when you look at market data, you'll have to ensure that you are looking at that particular position. And in that typical industry, you have to compare it with apples to apples, because you can't compare an engineer from a manufacturing organization with an engineer in a IT industry. Salaries will differ. Okay. So that's one hygiene factor you have to keep in mind. So what are you keeping? Market value data. This is understood? Just give me a thumbs up. This is a little technical, so I want to ensure that everybody is, yeah, it's clear. Market value, okay. Now, how much are we paying in the market for an engineer per month? 10,000. Say small startup company, and for a COO, 50,000, and for a CEO, 60,000. Now, as a HR business partner, you want to predict you are only predicting. You are not actually implementing. You want to propose it to your organization or to your business head, how much you should be paying based on the market. You want to predict the salary. So what do you do then? Step one,
Correlation.
whether there is a relationship existing between point values and market value data, because what happens is sometimes market value may be depending on the supply and demand. Some positions have been in great demand and they're paying very high salaries. So first see if the data and the point values have any correlation. Then
There's a positive correlation in this.
It's a highly positive correlation.
absolutely. That means 98% of the salary is dependent on the point value. Now, are you with me? 2% is dependent on other factors, but 98% of the market salary is dependent on point value. Excellent. Now you can delete that. You are establishing, first of all, there is correlation. Okay. Now, what will you do? You will do what we
Regression.
call it as regression. So for regression, you have to calculate what? Two values. Put it somewhere. I've already put it. What is that? You have to calculate
Slope.
slope value. You have to also calculate
So
intercept value. Intercept value.
So slope value will so the point value and the point value is
simple. You don't do that easy. I will tell you step by step. Just go to insert. Go to insert. Go to insert.
Formula.
Insert function.
Insert function.
Then you go to what? Slope.
Slope. Okay.
Yeah, put okay. Known Y's. What will be a known Y? Y is a dependent variable. What will be a dependent variable?
Market value.
Exactly. Yeah, put that. Okay. Now, known X's will be your
point value.
Point value. Excellent. Okay. So, what is your slope value?
126.34.
Yeah, just write it there so that you are.
Yeah.
Intercept.
Yes.
Known wise market value.
Just a second.
Known excess.
Oh. Sorry. Intercept value.
Yeah, it can be negative. I'll show you. In fact, I will use a whiteboard to show you the slope and intercept concept very clearly. Okay. Now, what is the formula? I said if you want to calculate this D row pay line salary for engineer, what is the formula? The formula is
Y equals to AX plus
AX plus B.
Plus B.
What's the formula?
Y equals
AX
plus
plus B. Now, can you incorporate numbers into it? What is A?
A is slope.
Slope.
Put the value there.
Okay.
Slope value and intercept value are constant. Okay. What changes here? Now, Suchana is very good at that. What changes here is only the
point value.
Exactly. Now you can use a equal to, and you can use hardwire the data and put only the dollar. Yeah, you can do that, and you can drag it. You will get all the salaries. Here you can use your D.
Yeah.
Go to D.
Okay. Here I'll do it.
Equal to. Yeah. So will you use a bracket?
Yeah.
No, don't put this. I would prefer you hardwire the data, which is constant. 126 doesn't change.
So, ma'am, I can put log this na data.
Yeah, lock it. Okay. Okay.
I'll log the data.
Yeah. You can lock the data also. I typically do the other way so that sometimes.
And into this plus this one intercept. And again, I'm locking this.
Excellent. So now you will enter the data. You will get the salary. And now in the corner, you can drag it. Got it? All of you? So you could predict what salary you should be paying now based on the market data. When you do a regression, what is it happening? It is not taking into consideration just one job. It is taking all the jobs and then creating the regression line of it and saying, now, can you do the visual data, point value and pay line salary? You'll see all the, I won't tell you what you will see. Do that.
Ma'am, can you come again? I
Yeah.
might missed it.
Suchana, do the, what is it, scatter graph? This is
Oh,
typically
scatter
called a
graph.
scatter chart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hide the market value. You can do for market value and point value.
Okay.
You can do for point value and pay line salary also.
Okay.
Then you will see that this is the market. No. Why? I'll tell you what happened. You have to hide your market value data.
Yeah. Ma'am, I can copy paste it below and I can.
Then you can do that also. Yeah.
Yeah, that is better. Oh.
Insert. Yeah. Cutter. Now draw the line of best fit, which is called the line of best fit.
Yes, ma'am.
Click on any blue.
Yes, ma'am.
What's happening? So this is the market data. And when you have the line of best fit, so it has what? Put all your salaries. This is called your salary line. Okay. Now I want to explain a little here. So say, for example, right now I only have these 5 positions. Okay. Which is your X data. X typically should be as rightly showed here. Can you put X down? 100, 200, 300. Here, pay line salary. If you just put X, it will be better. Just
Okay,
to indicate, this is this X axis and that is the Y axis.
Here,
Salary is the Y axis and total point value is the X axis.
Here you wanted to.
No. Pay line salary in rupees per month. I have a chart here, right? I can see chart here, which you have done. The scatter graph.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Next to market.
Okay. This
So
one you are
put
talking
down,
about.
yeah. So put down as, I wanted to explain something. So put that down as X axis. Just write X down.
Here.
Yeah, down, right.
Okay, I understood. X, yeah.
X axis, and that will be your Y axis, just to make something clear. So this will be your Y axis always, right? X axis down and Y axis. So Y is salary, money, and X is point values. Okay. Now what I'm trying to say, you have only 5 positions, but you have another position where the point value is, do you have 250 points here? You don't have, right? Do you have here any job with 250 points? No. But maybe you are taking a job which is 250 points. Then how will you calculate salary? Simple. can you, all that you need to do is, since you have slope and intercept values, because the best part about regression is, now even if you want to calculate for a new job, if you know the point value on the x-axis, you can then calculate the salary. Can you do it or not? Even visually also you can do it. Say for example, there is something like a 350, which is between 300 and 400. There's a job. Okay. Then I will go straight. And then if I look at,
45,000.
I can find out how much salary I need to pay. No?
45,000
Say,
around.
so, say for example, if you have to do for 350, I will use the formula that is what? A multiplied by point value plus B. Got it? Very clear? How
Yeah.
do I predict salaries? And then what I will show to the management, saying that this is what is market showing and this is what we are paying. We are paying, lesser than the market or whatever it is showing. And then what is the budget we have? And then we can take action prescriptive, saying that, okay, 5% or 10% we need to increase. Got it? Okay. Before I, no, I think after T, I will show you that intercept and slope. Okay. I think you need a break. Is this clear, guys, what you have done now? Okay. Because afterwards we will do education and salary also. Oh, no, we did education salary, we'll do age and salary. All right. Okay. See, we were talking about in regression, slope and intercept value, right? So from the perspective of, okay, I took compensation example. Now, the market salary is the Y, which is a dependent variable. You can see here, a Y-axis, and the point values. These are point values, 0 to 100 to 200 to 300 to 400. This is the X-axis and the independent variable. Very clear? Okay. Now you wanted to understand, when we say in the equation, when you have seen regression equation, there is a correlation coefficient and also the slope value is calculated. The intercept value is also calculated. Now, when we talk about intercept, the word intercept, what does it mean? That means it is cutting, intercepting with something. So, when this line of fit or the trend line cuts into your y-axis, I made a small circle here. The point of that intersection where this trend line cuts into the y-line and the value of x is 0. So the y value when x is 0. Got it? Y value when x is 0. That's called what? The intercept. That's why we also call it as y-intercept. All right. What is slope? Slope means the gradient slope. You can see the slope. Which trend line, A, B, C, which trend line will have a higher slope value? I have put 3 lines here. A, B, and C. Which trend line will have a high,
A.
A, absolutely. Because you can see that the slope is, slanting higher. Now, what is slope value? The increase of y. When the slope, that is the x, increases by 1 point. When it increases, there is a change in the y. When it increases, like at 100, the market salary is different. At 200, it is different. At 300, it is different for all these trend lines. Right? The change in the y by the increase of 1 point value. Okay? In x, the change in the y market salary. So when your point value becomes 200, For this trend line, it might be here. For this trend line, the market salary is here. For this trend line, it is here. When it is 400, it is here. This one, it is higher. And for A, it is higher. Likewise. Okay. Is that clear now? What is slope and what is intercept? Yeah. Not very clear. As the word commonly understood, what is a slope? Hey, be careful, don't fall off. There is a slope. What does it mean? Slope is equivalent to slanting?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So, but if you want to give it to the quantitative terms, typically, so the change in the Y, but the increase of the point value by 1 unit.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than 1 unit, I will say, okay, fine. If a job has 100 points right now, there's another job with 200 points. So can you look at a market salary for the trend line C? It will be here somewhere, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'll draw. 1 second, 1 second. That's better. I'll do this. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Now
Right.
say for again 350 for B.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So that means the change in the Y, when you increase the point value by 1 unit, got it? That is calculated through intercept. So therefore, when you use that equation, AX plus B, A value is given, B value is given, you are changing only the point values. Got it?
Which is
Very
X.
clear now? Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Proceed. So you have one exercise in regression, one more, which I want you to do it on your own. I'll stop sharing this one. Okay. I will showcase that. Did we do salary and education right now?
No, we haven't done it yet.
We can do age and salary, right?
Okay.
You have that? The data with you all?
I think it might be in the email.
Yeah, the age and annual salary. The 3 sheets in one workbook. There's a pay line salary and education salary separately given.
Yeah. So somebody wants to showcase it. I have no issue. Okay, I'll stop this. Age and salary. Yes. Who is it? Aarti doing it? Okay. Somebody else will start directing Aarti, or Aarti can do it on her own. First step 1. Does correlation exist? You can't do a regression without correlation.
Yeah.
No. Quickly, why don't you do a visual? The much easier.
Yeah.
Select data, insert. Select data, insert, scattergraph, and you'll quickly. At trend line, I can see that.
Yeah.
And then just scroll down, you will have display equation on chart. No, just the last two. Display equation on chart and display R square.
Square.
Mm.
No.
So what does it say?
R square is 0.3, which is like no
Weak.
correlation.
And what is the correlation?
1619. No. Into X.
It's not 1619.
You want to calculate correlation separately?
Correlation haven't calculated yet.
You can, yeah, put it aside and then you can do that.
0.5
So there's not much of a
correlation.
correlation. Huh? So the age and salary, they do not have much correlation because your regression itself is showing 32% of the response is dependent on the independent variable age. That means there are other factors which actually go to make up the salary. It is not age. Age is only 32%. So therefore you really can't do regression. Got it? Now just stay with it. Just click on this annual salary, that visual one. I'll show you another one quick. Just click on that. Yeah. Just keep your cursor on that annual salary. Then you will get a quick layout here. Go to data and you will get a quick layout. Go to data otherwise.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then go to this. Come back to your graph. Come back to your graph. And then can you see here quick layout? If you just click on that, okay, when you do it again.
Click on what, ma'am? This
The
is what you're trying to say?
annual salary is written there, right? You just make a click on that. Yeah. Can you see on your left side, add chart element, then next to that is quick layout
Yeah.
on your bar. So click on that quick layout. Extreme corner there. No, up. File under home.
Okay. There is a quick layout. And,
click on that. Okay, this is another way. Then there is 1, 2, 3, 4,
shortcut.
5, 6, 7, 8. FX. Can you see one? You have to go to that one. There is
sixth one.
1, 2, 3,
Nine.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Layout, I think 8 it is. Go to layout 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, not there. Quick
No,
layout only.
in quick
In
layout.
quick layout. Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Another one. Next one. Yeah. No, below that.
The FX1.
FX.
Go
Go to FX.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I got it. Yeah.
If you do that also, at one click, you will get your R square. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay. You'll also get your correlation coefficient. You'll also get your slope and intercept. You don't have to calculate separately. All right? Okay. Let us see education and salary. Do the regression. We didn't complete that. We now looked at agent salary, pay and salary. Go to education and salary. Now
Education
so there
salary.
is, you can't predict because there is no correlation between, Yeah. Can you quickly do this?
Shall we do the correlation first?
No.
We can see there is no correlation. Yeah.
Go to insert and look at the, You can do straight away, quick layout and you'll get your regression. Go to data. Select the data first. Select your thing. Whenever you want to do your chart, you have to select your data.
Yeah.
No, full. Your row 14, cell 14 is not selected, I think.
14 is not selected. Oh, okay. So sorry.
Yep. Insert. No. Insert. Yeah. Insert. Then go to charts.
And why didn't we do correlation first?
No, there is no correlation. It's visible.
No.
You see?
If you want to do a quick method, you can always do a visual.
Because
Click on any
correlation
data
equals
point.
R.
No. Click on any data point and right click. Add trend line. Okay. Scroll down.
I don't know why it's not coming.
We can also click on the quick layout and get the R square and
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
everything will be there then.
Do the data label
No,
also.
but now that she's here, yeah.
Data label.
कहाँ है?
You can go to quick layout also. Can you see
Oh,
that
yeah,
quick
quick
layout?
layout. Yeah, we did it just now. Yeah.
Yep. And go to FX. Layout 8, I think. 8 or
Yeah,
9.
we did that. We did that.
9, I think. 9. Layout
Yeah.
9.
एक second.
Yeah. Make it bigger. Not bad. So the R square is 0.63. That is 63%.
Yeah.
63%. Okay.
Answer.
One key question. Okay. Now, if you want to calculate, okay, if X is, say, for example, 22, if X is what? Education, right?
Yeah.
And Y is
In
salary.
dependent value. Yeah.
Yeah. So if X is 22, what will be the salary? Can you calculate?
So X
Simple.
is
Equal to, put where 0.0003 multiplied by what will X be? 22, right? Plus this. That will give you your Y value.
How much you said, ma'am? 20.
20, no, 20 is already there. I thought 22.
22.
Yeah. You are, the formula is what? AX plus B?
Yeah, plus B.
So A's value, you know, X is 22 now. So A into X, done, plus B. B is the intercept.
Why is X 22?
No, we are calculating 22. Say, for example, I have the salary for 20, 16 years of education, 15 years of education. I want to calculate the salary for education was done 22 years. So what should I be paying the salary? Got it?
Oh, okay.
Okay. Regression can be used also in saying, if I have actually done so many training programs and the performance has increased by so many units, I can also calculate saying that how many programs should I be doing if I want to increase the performance by certain units. So you can predict, like we are predicting here the salary. So there is one more thing. In fact, when we are looking at attrition, you can predict who are the people who are actually leaving the organization and can I do something about it. So what do you typically do is this is also called early warning system. We'll also mail you a detailed how we will go about doing an EWS, but I'll just give you the summary of how to go about. Let me just okay. So typically what do you do in an EWS system? What are the indicators when a person is about to leave? What are some of the indicators when a person is about to leave?
The morale goes
Stop
down.
engaging with people, stop participating, don't participate in trainings, attendance goes low, many sick leaves, frequent sick leaves.
So that means some of the indicators could be performance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it could be absenteeism.
Attendance, yeah.
Then it could be participation. Okay. Sudden activity in the social media, right? Like, for example, updation of your LinkedIn profile, etc. Huh? Even late coming or even productivity, performance and productivity same. So one can look at what are those, some of those indicators which lead to saying that, you know, this person seemed to be not interested anymore. Now, when you want to design an early warning system, your objective should be very clear. Are you targeting your high performers? Or if you have an attrition, say, for example, at a certain tenure, 0 to 1 or 2 to 3, you know, you can have a focused kind of an early warning system. So you are going to, first of all, list out all the indicators. Okay. Now, then what will you do? Typically, say, for example, I'm looking at high performers. So performance. So step one, what have you established? All the indicators which show that sudden. So you're going to track them. That is performance, absenteeism, participation, social media. You're going to create what? A rating scale. What are you going to create? I'll just take you through that. Rating scale of, what is it rating scale for? Risk. I can also put it here, which is actually a risk rating scale. Okay. And then you'll say, if per performance, I've given a rating scale of 1 to 5, where I will say, hey, if there's a very low performance, that means what? The risk is very high, right? So I can keep it as 4 or 5. Absenteeism, very high. So again, the risk is about 4 or 5. So for every indicator, I will create a risk rating scale. Once I have created that risk rating scale, then based on the actual performance or actual absenteeism or participation, I will then total the score and thereby come to a conclusion that the risk of losing him is very high. Okay. Then what I'll do, I will also create risk as low, medium, and high. So based on the highest risk score, I will then allocate people who are high, who are medium. So the high people will be red. Then the next I can have, say, for example, maybe orange, and the low ones can have been green. So first I will then try to address the people who are on high risk. Okay, I'll show it. Any questions on correlation and regression? Then we will move to this very interesting last bit, digital HR. Okay. In today's times, we are hearing a lot about digital HR. What do you mean by digital HR? Anybody?
AI.
Yeah. I think even Chanel uses a lot of automation, etc. Right? So what do we mean by digital HR? As the word suggests. Yeah. Yes, Chanel.
Digitalization of all HR activities, right from screening the profiles, onboarding, all of
Absolutely,
these.
absolutely. In today's time, especially, we wanted to always be digital HR, but I think COVID forced us to literally get into digitization, right? Because we had to work from home and we had to automate everything, and most of the organizations were forced to get into digital HR. Today, what functions of an HR are mostly digitized? Anybody? Let us start with recruitment. Okay.
Recruitment, yeah.
What aspects of recruitment are digitized?
Tracking
Screening,
system, tracking
Pardon?
system, screening is done
No,
digitally.
we'll start with as per the employee life cycle. Like, we'll start with,
job posting.
our recruitment, hiring.
Yeah.
What part of digitization in recruitment, especially?
Screening resumes.
Yes, absolutely. Even interviewing. Earlier, 60 to 70% was being, physical interview, right?
Yeah,
But now,
yeah,
I think because because of this, what is it? Work from home or remote working. So you are interviewing people through what? There's also bot interviews, right?
Mm-hmm.
Chatbot interviews. So you don't use, in fact, most of the IT organizations are using chatbot. Google, for example,
yeah.
AI. They are using a lot of AI for interviewing. Do you know that? AI is also
Yes,
being used for interviewing for all the technical rounds because they want it to be much more measured and quantified and accurate. So today, all the elimination process is also being done by AI. Okay. Then moving on to onboarding and induction. Earlier, there was only physical onboarding, but today you can do it remotely also, digitized. Most of the organizations are having what? Because say, for example, I have a remote worker. Now, I can't ask him to come to the corporate office and then do the induction, onboarding. So you're doing it online. Submitting of all your paper documents. Everything is digitized, right? Records. Huh? So digitization has become, in fact, what I would say, imperative, and it is a necessity now to reduce your cost to become efficient and effective. Okay, so impact. So look at this. How work is changing due to technology, automation, etc. In fact, you have the gig workers today. Today, most of the jobs, you don't have full-time jobs. It's mostly, the job has been broken down. You have platform workers. So I think that is on the rise, in fact. So what impact on jobs? Automation, new job creation, increased productivity and augmentation, rise of the gig economy. So if you notice, Amazon, most of these big retail companies are using a lot of gig workers because they are working on the talent platforms. So, like, for example, you have Uber. I'm sure everybody knows about Uber taxi service. So they are also gig workers. Okay. So because of this, what happens? Reskilling becomes imperative. Then cognitive and soft skills, technical literacy becomes very imperative because you have to have digital literacy. Your workforce has to have IT skills. Then because of that, adaptability, adapting to this new technology, culture, etc. Tell me one thing: when people are working remote, etc., in this digital era, what kind of behavioral issues are you experiencing? I'm sure some of you are working in that way, remote and hybrid. What kind of behavioral issues are you noticing? Earlier, everybody
Lack
would
of
come
production.
physically come under one roof. But today, what is happening? And so, because of this, what kind of behavioral issues and how do organizations actually cope with this? Yeah, I
Lack
think Channel, I missed your point. It was a very valid point. Yeah.
lack of production. Slow,
Hmm.
slow
Hmm.
production, or the work is not quality, lazy.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm just
Absolutely,
being blunt.
absolutely.
I'm just being
Initially,
blunt.
people thought, in fact, if you notice all the IT companies, initially people thought, working from home will increase their productivity. But now they realize that it is actually, there is a dip in the productivity and they're ensuring that people come at least 4 days in a week to the work. Okay. So, yeah, Soumya, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, we are noticing right now, like due to all this war situation and the weather condition, we have opted for remote work, and then
Right.
we are noticing the significant changes in the employees' performance and the productivity, and you kind of feel a social isolation as well, the
Absolutely.
disconnection and the disengagement. That's something.
Absolutely. Real employee engagement cannot happen in virtual places, right? Though
Yeah, true.
organizations are having virtual employee engagement activities, but it is not possible. No, it becomes really, the team bonding, huh? And that becomes a challenge. Yeah. So has this workplace evolved? So from hybrid to remote models, digital transformation of tasks, focus on employee well-being. This is important. The green and the care economy, because the growth is expected in various sectors, we are also focusing on sustainability and human centered. Suddenly people after the COVID have become, very, very, there is a huge thrust in terms of employee wellness, so to speak of. It is not just physical employee wellness, but also more of mental employee wellness. What are some of the things your organizations are doing to ensure that there is, the mental hygiene, the mental well-being is kept up? What are some of the things your organizations are doing? What are some of the benefits, or what are some of the initiatives some of your organizations are doing? because there's a lot of focus on mental well-being. Yeah.
We just implemented a new incentive plan to where if you do a good job, you get points for it, and then you can buy swag.
Ah, okay, okay. Do you know there are also designations like empathy officer, chief empathy officer, and this chief empathy officer is comes with a certification in listening skills. Huh?
Chief
Why?
Happiness Officer also.
Pardon?
Chief
We
Happiness.
have happiness ambassador position.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Why? Because people, especially the mental well-being is becoming very, very critical these days. So, in order that I can see Chanel, so people want, the happy quotient. They want to increase the happy quotient. So, people are having all kinds of. So, there is a special counselor, or like Kalpaga was mentioning about. We do a lot of coaching and mentoring and counseling, right?
We do also have the sessions on like we used to have these fun Fridays. Instead of fun Fridays, now in Shell we brought in something on doctors specialized in each of the field, like psychiatrists who come and actually address the crowd, and we also have psychologists who did a counseling for almost employees across the organization. So that was also open for staff.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So when I was working in the Sutherland, what we realized that during a employee engagement survey, we realized that people were having a lot of psychological, behavioral, and mental issues. So we started having a psychiatrist visit almost twice a week, and also a counselor. And this was confidential. So when she shared the information with me, she said that, oh my God, a lot of people had, we saw that some of these um, call center employees or medical coding or physician, most of this BPO, KPO kind. So they are young. They are between 20 to 25 to 28. They had huge issues. And let me tell you, after a year or two, this is coming from data. We saw that it made a lot of difference in terms of the productivity and also in terms of absenteeism. We used to have a lot of people, because they work even at night. So, especially most of these KPOs, because they are working the graveyard shifts and all, we used to have a lot of issues. So, in fact, rather than, as you rightly stated, having fun Fridays didn't do much, but rather having these counselors and psychiatrists coming and helping us in a very, very structured and focused way made a lot of difference to the mental hygiene of people. Yeah, thank you, KPG. And a very good point. Yeah. Anybody else? Any other organization who is dealing with youngsters, especially in today's the Generation Z, or so where?
Yes, they're
Huh?
emotionally
Yep,
unstable. They're emotionally unstable and they
absolutely.
lack critical thinking skills. And it's like, what the heck is going on? Is everybody on drugs?
Mm.
But it's
There is
fine.
something called, Channel, you rightly mentioned, instant gratification, right?
True.
Yes.
Because the young workforce, everything, reward and oh, I didn't get an appreciation. I did this very well today. Oh, I didn't get a recognition. I didn't, instant, everything. I didn't get a promotion quickly. You have to really understand their psyche. There is nothing like, oh, long term, work hard, go. No, everything we wanted as of yesterday, right? So how do
Mhm.
organizations actually deal with them? And we really have to do all our benefits, incentives, R&R, etc. have to be in line with this young force, depending on their aspirations, etc. And of course, drugs
Ma'am,
is
I
also
would like
one major thing. Yeah.
I would like to add something here. I don't know if it's useful for rest of the participants here. Like here in the UAE, it was announced that the mission or the vision of 2031 is to ensure that the mental health and well-being of the residents residents and the families are taken care of. That's the vision. Okay, so as part of it, all the companies were encouraged to kind of do this, activities of mental health, the drives and so on. So in our company, we made sure that all the employees undergo this mental health and well-being training, and we had to talk about this mental health stigma and how people are not just open up to talk about what's happening with them and things like that. And then in our company, we asked openly, like, what do you think that we should have in our organization that helps you overcome this mental health issues or the problems? And people were like saying, we need a gym here, and we need some activity room, and we need some reading room and things like that. And we came up with something like, we have one anti-stress room where we have this punching,
Yeah.
the area where you can sit and listen to music, and there is this good aromatherapy and all of that. So that's really helping our employees, and we have done enough surveys on how they feel right now. So yeah, it's helping.
I think
Yeah,
excellent. In fact, we didn't have an aromatherapy, but we did have punching. People could listen to music, play rooms
yeah,
where they could play some caroms, etc. But yes,
true,
having, to some extent, the aroma spas, etc., also makes people, feel good factor. So I
true.
think that's excellent. Yeah. And I'm
Yeah,
sure some of the other organizations are also evolving to this and focusing more on, as you rightly said, earlier mental health problems wouldn't come up or they wouldn't surface because they attached a stigma kind of a thing. So,
true.
as long as you remove that stigma and say it's okay, everybody goes through it, you can, So,
Yeah,
if you create that kind of a culture, then I'm sure
yeah,
people will feel safe, protected, or they feel they are vulnerable, right? Yeah.
yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Thank you.
I also
Okay.
had just one point to add.
Yeah.
I think when this currently what the organization here we are facing is that I'm not sure about others if you are also facing, but return to office, bringing them back to office is becoming a very big challenge, especially for the Gen Z. They prefer to
Mm.
work from home, and they are looking for a flexibility or a completely a remote working and all of that here. So we had to bring in a policy to say that it is mandate and business driven to say that this is very important for them to come. So that is one of the issues which we are facing, but we are also trying to balance it because the young generations or the workforce is more about they're trying to look in for flexibility at work.
Yeah,
See,
I agree.
you raise a very, very pertinent question, KPG, because I think TCS, even the best of companies are finding it challenge to ensure, to make it mandatory that they should come to office now. At least, if not, I mean, all the weekdays, 5 days, but at least 3 to 4 days. Okay, because now the Gen Z, Gen Z generation, they have got used to this flexibility of, if you have to come to office, you have to then dress, you have to come. So that flexibility in terms of everything, you can just take a laptop and sit, right?
Yeah,
At home,
yeah,
remote. Huh?
True.
So
yeah,
therefore, now that discipline, to instill a discipline in them, is taking time. It is a challenge, definitely. Now, a lot of organizations have also seen that initially it helped them with productivity, but now they see that there is a huge impact on even productivity, you know? So, commitment, ownership, so all these things. And also, you know that, right? Moonlighting. Huh?
Oh, that's a serious concern, which is getting
Huh?
really moonlighting is a very
Uh,
serious concern.
huh?
And then
It had
adapting
become.
them to our culture, the organization culture, because of course the organization is putting a lot of effort to keep changing according to the dynamics of the environment and external factors. But what we see is the resistance towards all of these changes is getting the noise is getting more, like
Yeah.
let it
Yeah.
be dress code. There are few companies who are not restricted toward dress code, but when we emphasize on dress code, they look at like why is this company alone being so different. Why? Because they quote a different example to say, I've come from this organization and we don't have a dress code policy. So everything has been questioned. Like, even though
You
it's a
can just
policy.
walk in with some bathroom slippers as well, right?
Yeah, true.
Uh, in fact, but as you rightly stated, moonlighting, I'm sure everybody knows moonlighting, because they have also started getting used to working on different projects when they were working remotely. Now, when you mandate that they have to come to the office, see, when before the COVID, there was no question of moonlight. Obviously, you log in and then you log out. You couldn't do that. But after COVID, then the companies have suddenly realized that why is this productivity going down, because they are working on 2 3 other interested projects, etc. Okay, and that's one reason why they are making it mandatory that they should come to office. At least the time is utilized, you are spending is on my projects and not on other projects. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, KPG, thank you for the contribution. Yeah. So future work will be more automative of repetitive tasks. So in HR, what do you think? What automation is taking place, or how is AI supporting some of the processes and some of the things which you think in your organization are getting automated?
A lot of the data analytics. I just took a data analytics class, guys, probably
Right,
back in
right,
January, and they
right.
used
Absolutely.
AI for regression. They used AI for predictive analytics. They didn't even use SQL or Power BI. They used straight ChatGPT and Clyde or Cloud
Claude.
or whatever.
Yes.
Claude. Yeah,
Yeah.
Claude.
CLAW. Claude. Yeah, absolutely.
It
So,
was scary, Miss Gupta. It was scary because it's like Excel is like it's like becoming obsolete.
but it is so advantageous because what happens is you can actually automate anything which is repetitive, and then you can pay better salaries to people where there is a human interface required, right? Of course, future workforce will be gig workers, freelancers, AI and digital systems, and more of remote, hybrid, virtual teams. All of this is going to be a reality, guys. Okay. So, therefore, all the more reason that we become much more tech savvy. Tech savvy is very, very important. Very soon, even Merit will come up with the AI recruitment, AI performance management, with platforms of that. Very soon, you will see all the repetitive processes in these functions will become automated and they'll be driven by AI. Much more accuracy also. Okay. Yeah. Just to see workforce, who performs the work, hybrid workforce models. Um, then people are going to look more at skills. And also, I think AI readiness will become very important. Okay. And there won't be traditional kind of thing. There'll be a shift to remixing of skills. Okay. AI based occupancy detection, even in recruitment you can have that. Smart lighting system, air control, energy optimization, all of this are becoming a reality as of today. And because of this automation, something which is becoming going to be very important is continuous learning part. Because as of today, whatever you have acquired yesterday will become obsolete. So skills become very quickly obsolete. So the need for continuous reskilling or upskilling or learning more about digital platforms will become a necessity. Have you seen any changes in your organization because of the automation and AI? Any perceptible changes, guys?
Yes, ma'am, we have seen. I have been noticing that because it's an ongoing thing which is being adapted in each and every department, right
Mhm.
from human resource to IT and rest of the departments. Like I can see that the significant changes, like when they were doing, gone are the days that we did like we gave one-to-one orientation or induction programs. Now that it is all done in the virtual space, and then all they can do it like once they are done going through all the slides and everything, they'll accept, and then that marks as like they have understood what it is. So these are the things are being just practiced, and over the period of time, the human interface in many areas can be just taken off.
Yeah.
That's just
So
the idea.
therefore, you are reducing the cost of full-time employees. You are using more of HR chatbots, right? You are
Yes,
using
yes,
AI for everything, so that
yeah,
you can minimize the full-time employees, which is a
yes,
huge responsibility on the employer, and
yeah,
take so that HR can actually add value there. Okay,
yes,
so it is
yeah,
removing all the repetitive stuff, etc., which can be done by the automation and AI.
yeah.
Yeah, good.
Also, this chatbot, like you have
Yeah. Mm.
the questions and the queries coming in, all the frequently asked questions are loaded there. So, as and when employees have a question, they just type there and the answer is already available. We have done all of that so
Yeah,
that we'll reduce the calls coming in.
I think most of the organizations are using chatbots as their intranet, wherever you have questions like
Yes,
leave, my benefits,
yes,
every employee. So rather than a HRBP earlier who used to manage all this, a chatbot keeps giving you the responses, what is my
yeah,
leave? Am I eligible for what is it, variable pay? Am I eligible for this? Everything with regard to policies or anything with regard to benefits, incentives, how do they work? I think chatbots are being used for
it's
such
helping. Yeah,
things. Yeah. In fact, automation has come in even for pulse surveys, etc. All those moods and smileys and etc. You are using
yeah,
that. How is my unit today? How is my organization today? So they'll put a
yeah,
chat smiley there. You know what? Right? Yeah, it's interesting. Mm. Yeah. So this is how chatbots are operating. Okay. Yeah. So in fact, we are using um, platforms of surveys, engagement measurement, real time. Even feedback is also being monitored by AI center chatbots these days, right? Yeah, we discussed about recruitment, performance, payroll. All this is being automated. Okay. In fact, when we share this PPT with you, you'll see this process of HR digital transformation step-by-step guide. You can go through it. So in order to digitize your HR, you have to actually pay attention to things like, your digitization should not be very complex, because otherwise what happens, employees will stop using it, right? It has to be easy. It has to be having a very smooth integration, adaptable workflows. And even, initially what happens when you actually come out with any new thing, which is automated or digitized, employees refuse to use it. Have you had any experience of that kind? When you automate something, hmm, people will not use it. They will still go to the HRBP and ask. Have you experienced that?
yes, yes. We are still
Huh?
experiencing that.
So how do
Yes.
you bring about that? Because I told you HRBP is also a change management uh, uh, agent. So how do you bring that change in workforce to
Yes.
become more automative, use automative processes more? How do you do that?
Write them
Uh,
up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what reinforcement of idea, and then keep on just involving them in this whole drive, department wise and the stakeholder wise. So they will understand that now there is no way that we can just stick to the old habits. We need to change. So
Yeah.
we'll have to
So we
evolve
need
with
to have
time.
champions at that point of time to do these
Right.
drives and make them aware what is in it for them. Because every employee is always asking, what is in it for me? Right? So,
Yeah.
hey, because they should not feel threatened that their jobs will go away. Huh? In fact, they should say, hey, you'll be high skilled, you will be learning better skills, they will be reskilling and upskilling. So people sometimes, whenever there are such changes of, especially automation and digitization, so that threat, hey, they are going to, maybe I'm going to get laid off or downsized. So you have to ensure them the security, etc., and ensure that it is not so. It's for your success and improvement. Yeah. I'm sure people, you are very, very familiar with applicant tracking system, which most of the recruitment people use at ATS, right?
Yeah, it is.
How does
Yes.
it work? Anybody? How does an ATS work?
It's with the keywords that
Yeah,
the
yeah.
application is picked by the recruiter. The
So how
pool
is
of
it helping
applications that
from the
keep coming.
traditional way? By using an ATS, what is the advantage we have when we were doing it the traditional method?
The traditional method is basically you'll go through all the CVs, relevant, irrelevant, you go through one by one. Like you don't have that option to kind of go
So
through it
what
with
is
the
the
filter.
kind of
But you,
advantage you get then in
like
terms
here,
of
you get the more
speed,
suitable CVs, more
absolute
relevant CVs.
accuracy,
Yeah,
speed, and
yeah,
screening happens in much lesser span of time as opposed to the traditional method of going through all the resumes, and you find that if you have received 1,000
time.
resumes and you have only selected what 5% or 10% of them, here at the click of a button you can really screen them by just putting those keywords.
Right, right.
Yeah, provided your ATS can be very good and effective, provided you have you have good job postings, the
Yeah.
criteria is really accurate, fitting the role, right? Otherwise, you can have in gaps a lot of good resumes going away. It can also have
Exactly.
a disadvantage. So it is not that, so you have to know how to use this ATS system and what are the preconditions or what is that prerequisites you require to make it very effective and efficient. So you need to have the right kind of a job posting done, right keywords to be used there so that you are not able to, you don't eliminate the good resumes, which very often happen. And I've seen it myself, we missed out on very good people because of these things. Okay. LMS. How does LMS today? Most of the organizations are using LMS. How does it benefit the organization? Anybody who's using LMS in their organizations, or you're also using LMS for Merit? Yeah. How does it help you?
It provides a virtual way they can learn a skill set to help them overcome a
Absolutely.
challenge that they have or
Absolutely.
just a lack of skill set.
In fact, today LMS is becoming very, very useful, especially for remote, etc. Cost saving,
And
virtual.
it's
You can
yeah.
and ownership to the employee. You have pushed the ownership to the employee, saying that, hey, these are the number of programs you have to have certifications. These are all virtual programs. Go to the LMS, do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there is certain amount of ownership, and as and when you want to do it, not a question of, okay, I have to do it between 10 and 2, you know. So there is some kind of a flexibility in terms of whenever you want to use it. Okay, 1 hour I can do it now, maybe later. So and there is also in LMS what there is a criteria. You can also assess it. Then have you been there are levels, level 1, level 2, level 3. So if you have done level 1, it takes you to level 2, then level 3. It's not that you go to level 3. So everything is designed in such a way that the employee is able to learn, upskill, reskill as and when he wants, and the ownership is pushed to him rather than to the employer. And in today's times where skills are becoming, obsolete very quickly, so this becomes very, very useful. Yeah, performance management. Today, I don't see anybody doing a pencil and pen paper performance management. Everybody is working on a software. And in fact, every IT companies are doing it online. Anybody who wants to share who uses a performance management software and how is it benefiting them as an HRPP and How effective has it become? Or are you using still the traditional method?
We have a in-house, performance management tool, and a rest of the applications that they are working with is integrated with this application, and we can see what's achieved and what was set as a KPI and everything. So it's helping both the employees and the manager and the HR to kind of, have a good look at the overall picture at a
Tell me, what is
very.
the biggest advantage you have when you're working on a platform or a software with reference to performance management, as opposed to the traditional method of pen and paper method?
It's data
Biggest
driven
advantage.
decision
Pardon?
making, right?
Pardon?
Data driven. Ma'am,
Yes,
can you
it is
hear me?
data
I'm
driven.
saying like
But the biggest,
data driven. Yeah.
yeah. Anybody who wants to respond? Yeah, Soumya is there. She's saying data driven. The biggest advantage I have seen in particular using this software is the boss and the subordinate. They can actually be, it's what? Online, real time feedback, and you are able to track his goals. Not that you have set goals. Okay, after 3 months I'm going to see, or after 6 months, or after 9 months. Okay, you have lost time. Here, managing the performance of your subordinate or of your team members becomes real time, which is the biggest
Yeah.
advantage, because he's seeing it, and he can also give the feedback. Hey, this is how you
Yes.
can do it. So course corrections are happening even if he has to tweak the goals. So that's the biggest advantage, so that you don't waste time. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there is more transparency, because real time and transparency, that's something very, very critical for performance management. Or else what employees feel, oh, I don't know how he gave me a rating. There is no data to support it. The boss will forget everything. He'll say go by the halo effect or whatever effect, and they will say, okay, I'm giving him 2 or 3. So, and then the subordinate is not convinced as to what rating he has given, right? Hey, I did good work, but the boss has forgotten. So here it is real time. There's nothing to hide. It's all transparent. So that's the advantage, I think, in performance management. Okay. And see, performance management is very, very critical, because it is directly proportional to also wage cost, because you have a certain wage cost payroll. Okay. Now, if the wage cost does not impact business results, then what you are paying him fixed cost, and you are getting less profits and less revenue. So you have to ensure that the performance is always on the increase. So that's why you always calculate this. What is that key metric I gave you with reference to revenue and wage cost? What is that? Yesterday we spoke about it. Employee cost to turnover. You forgot the metric, very important metric. As an HRBP, you have to remember that. Employee cost to turnover is a very, very important metric. Okay. Okay. So payroll report. Payroll, of course, had become very automated right in the beginning, because all this PF, ESI, etc. Okay, reporting analytics, survey, all these things have almost 80% of HR has really become automated now. So when all this has, my key question to you is, okay, I think so my key question to you, when all this has become automated, you as an HRBP, how can you still add value and be a strategic partner? One thing what you will do, let's see. I think I'll stop this. Yeah. Let me now have everybody on the video. Guys, can I have everybody on the video? We learned about predictive analytics, we learned about operation analytics, we learned about the roles, how HR has to be a strategic partner. But now, having said that, major 80% of the work, which is, administrative, process driven, is all automatic, digitized, bots have replaced us. Now, you as an HRBP, human person, what is that you will do, or how will you add value to your HR organization? How will you differentiate yourself? Yeah. One thing which you will do when you go back. One action.
The first thing, we'll start relating every action, every activity that we are doing, which has got a business impact or not, direct impact or not. And if it's not, we'll try to align with the business impact. That's the first thing
So,
I will.
Aarti, I know you try. One thing you can do, go back. I'm helping you. Okay. Go back and check. Hey, in my HR, what I'm doing, can few things be automated so that I will get more time to do the real value add work? Am I doing something administrative, repetitive, which can be automated at no cost? Because you can, look at it. Because obviously, whenever it is a question of cost, the finance guy will say, oh, it's a huge cost, right? So, like, the low hanging fruit. So, are there certain tasks, repetitive tasks, which I can automate them, digitize them, which we still are doing the traditional method way, so that you get more time to add value to your business? Because for you, then you can become more strategic by interacting, understanding business metrics, and then probably, uh, that's where then they will realize that, hey, yes, my HR person is really adding value. Okay, that's one thing one can do. Yeah.
How do you do that? What's some questions that I can ask myself when I go
Yes,
back?
Channel. When you go back, what will you do?
Well, that's what I was wanting you to elaborate. Like with some things that I do, everything we like track it on an Excel spreadsheet. We track everything. We track investigations. We track how many people got terminated. We just track them on the spreadsheet. That's it.
Okay.
So
One question I want to ask you. You said we track everything, we track certain things, certain parameters. Now, after tracking, what do you do with that?
nothing.
Nothing. So, can you take one key challenge and say, hey, this I'm tracking this data of this challenge, then how can I bring more value into that? Because when you're doing tracking channel, you are only capturing data as is. There is no adding value to that. You're presenting it. That's it. Hey, this is the report. How can you bring more value to the report? By maybe you look at two variables, two sets, and see, hey, how can I then say, for example, give me one parameter or one variable which you track.
So for terminations, we track what location they were at, the employee's name,
Okay.
why they were terminated, if they were terminated for conduct, performance, or attendance.
Yeah, yeah. Very interesting. So, can you track your data, say maybe a little historical data, 2 years or 3 years or only 1 year data, terminating for what are the reasons for termination? Maybe three, maybe four. Where is your mode? Was it for conduct? Was it for something? You know what is a mode? That means you're categorizing. Where does your major terminations happen? Which is that cause which creates major terminations? Then can we do some action plan on this? Because whenever you are terminating, what happens? You're losing employees, right? First of all, then you also need to be proactive by saying, then are we doing checks on this right in the beginning when we are hiring? Are you with me, Channel?
Yes.
No?
But
See,
how
one
do I?
is reactive. Reactive, that is you are terminating. But can I be proactive saying, hey, but why is it happening? If it is a conduct, can I put it as a criteria to check the behavior of the conduct? So first of all, if you identify and find out the categories of causes and where are the major termination happening under which cause, then let me start actually then doing something on that so that you can reduce the numbers. See, I as an HRBP, it is not to resolve more grievances, but to reduce the numbers, reduce the terminations, because it's a effort, cost, everything. There is a time involved, there is effort involved, there is cost involved when you are hiring a person. So less number of terminations, so you actually what save that much of effort, time, and cost. Agreed? So you have
Yes.
to speak, or maybe I don't know how, what kind of a culture you have in your organization. I mean, you could take an initiative at a very small level, categorizing, hey, and then why is it happening? What could we do? Say, for example, you know, KPG gave me this saying that in there they have this psychiatrist or mental wellness improve. So if you are having terminations more because of some behavior, some conduct issues, can we go deeper? They are high performers, but conduct is bad. Why so? Can we give some kind of a coaching, counseling, some kind of a counselor coming in and guiding them? But this you can't do it on your own. You have to trust. How will you, so HRBP has to build trust first. So you have to actually build trust with your management or a business manager or your head of the department, so that he doesn't actually limit you to just tracking and giving you reports, which is more of administrative nature. You can add value by doing the next step, right?
I did get invited last week, guys. I did get invited to an operational meeting where they were
Mm-hmm.
talking about how much overtime is happening, why overtime is happening, the top
Mm-hmm.
5 supervisors that are, giving overtime, why full-time employees are
Mm-hmm.
doing overtime and part-time is not the first go-to to get, the overtime. So I'm getting in there. I'm getting in there, but this is my last question. How can I be strategic, but it's so administrative? I'm bogged down with administrative stuff, but it's like, how can I make room on my plate to become strategic when it's time? Do I need to come in earlier and stay
No.
later for a little bit? I mean, what
No,
what
no.
should I do?
So you can't keep spending so many hours at work, but maybe you can start in a small way. You can
Okay.
just look at a small piece of data, analyze the data, and then give it to your superiors or whoever. Because I don't know if you are working in a very unionized environment, because
No,
then
no.
the rules are different, right? Huh?
Yeah.
So there are many things to it. Like you came out with a lot of things saying overtime, etc. So if you go deeper down, then maybe we can talk, and maybe we can help you with how you can actually add value, and your organization will start seeing reaping the benefits of that. So we can talk a little more on that, on a one-on-one. We can do a WhatsApp channel. Okay, if you need
Yay!
some
Thank
if you
you.
need help on that, honestly, because I could sense some kind of that you are doing a lot of administrative work, and I'm not favoring this idea that I come early, I leave late. No, because your family time is also very, very important. Okay,
Yeah.
quality time is important, so you're already spending a lot of time there, so it doesn't make sense that you will come early and then you will go back late. Okay.
No.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we can have one more person if anybody wants to just give one action plan.
Yeah.
KPG, love to hear from you. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, currently, as such, the organization is going through a lot of change due to AI and everything,
Mm.
ma'am. So,
Yeah.
example, HR roles I'm talking about right away. While I'm
Hmm.
talking to you, my role is impacted. Uh,
Okay.
I have internally to look out for opportunities in Shell with until July. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a HR, my only thing would be like if AI automates 30% of certain roles, HR should redesign those jobs instead of eliminating people immediately. That would be the first thing. Yeah. So, redesign these jobs to say that, okay, reskill the people. Let it be analytics, digital. We have something called as employee relations or ERIR in AI, because a lot of technology is coming in, and how are we going to protect the organization? So those are the areas that I would actually look into to say that, okay, HR as a ethical and a human guardian of AI is what I would say, rather than like one example that you quoted with ATS, applicant tracking system, is that decisions are unbiased because candidate screening, is it fair? like you said, there are certain organization don't have the upgraded version of ATS tool. They have the very simple. They don't want to spend so much. So are we really scrutinizing the right people? Those are something that I would look into, because rather than eliminating people immediately.
Very interesting. See, in fact, you said in your company, AI is coming up in a full blown way. Not only most of the organizations are going to use this. Okay, but yes, when I say redesign, reskilling, maybe it is not the entire
Yeah.
the role will change. You know, sometimes you have to actually look at it from a different perspective altogether. Today, we are going to evolve in such a way that all these traditional HR roles are going to really vanish. Okay.
Yes.
And the so then see processes will be once you have set your processes, SOPs. So what happens? You deploy technology and AI automation, and they will run by themselves, right? But
Yeah.
you also need a human interface, just like I gave an example of ATS. Hey, but maybe the numbers will be very, very few, and you will be looking at a larger scope and scale.
Yeah.
Got it? Yeah.
like
So
like we'll
that's
have
where
these I was just trying to connect back, because we have something called as AI ethics and compliance. So
Mhm, mhm,
there are so I there was one employee in my
uh,
organization who came up, but we didn't have a policy. He have a
mm,
spectacles or a glasses that he's been wearing, which is
mm,
AI powered.
mm,
Are we allowed to, until the staff himself raised that question, we didn't know that we had something like that. Are
my
we
God.
future ready? Because with a lot of
Uh,
AI coming in and lot of things which is happening,
my
so
God.
can I
Uh,
wear these glasses to office? Because does the
mm,
organization allow this? Until the employee raised this question, we never formulated a policy to say that, okay, so are we
uh,
really future ready? That's something
yeah.
which I wanted to leave a
So
question.
this is like, let me just share some very quickly. Before the COVID, most of the BPOs and the KPOs, we were not used to what work from home at all. So one had to you know make a policy, work from home policy, because at that point of
True.
time it was mandatory to come. So work from home, oh, how will they come, how will they do, what will they do? It was a new thing, right? But then after COVID, it changed everything. So you are absolutely right. And let me just share you a very interesting thing. My sister shared with me. She's a very senior leader in Google in America. She said we started doing hiring using AI. Okay. So because we were not getting the right kind of people, they started using for technical rounds, AI rounds. So what? The candidates were also smarter. They would actually go through the AI to also give responses to the AI. So she said,
True.
this seems to have failed for us. Huh?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I tell you, so looks like, technology is going to kill technology, that kind it is. So she says, now we
We
have
have
actually
AI interviews, AI video interviews.
Yeah, so we have scrapped those because we felt that the students were the candidates were not up to the mark, and AI will the interviewers were not interviewing them rightly, measuring them technical skills. So let us use AI, but their efforts seem to have not been very, very successful there, because even the candidates seem to have got some kind of a way of how to every time you can
Uh,
how candidates are
yeah,
also,
I
they know how
wanted
to.
to add something here. Like when
Yeah.
we talk
This
of
is Aarti, or who is it?
Vilma.
Yeah, Vilma. Yes.
Okay, so digitization, people talk, but they do not know how to kickstart. They're always
Mm.
dependent on the outside sources,
Mm.
right? Whether it be ATS system or CRM system or any other tool, integration tool, you're dependent on outside product, which are not customizable. One thing to
Mm.
remember. So you might find difficulty in finding out the right kind of ATS system or right kind of a tool which would be helpful for your set of organization, right? Because
Yeah.
what they make is a total generic one. Suppose you have a 400, 500 employee organization and you need specific things. You may not require all the elements that are specified or given you in the package by the ATS system. So, but since you have to buy the package, you have to pay for the whole. process, the whole system, as an enterprise product. But then usage is only 30% or 40% of it. So is it
So
really
certain
helpful?
features are not
It
fitting
is
you and
not,
certain features,
right?
yeah.
So to answer KPG's query, that why downsize the employee strength, why not deploy them for better work, right? Re-engage them, train them, and enhance their learning, and put them for more better work which are linked digitally, right? Because now we are talking about digital, so obviously sooner or later we are already doing, and we will be moving to that step. So why not build your own internal team, your own internal people, upgrade them? Now when you look at, so definitely as an organization, I would prefer to reduce my cost, right? So you have to think like the owner of the organization. I want to reduce the cost when I am talking of digitization. But why my HR team is buying this product and that product, and increasing my cost, right? Now the thing is, when you think that I have a lot of people surplus who are sitting on my desk, I need to deploy them properly, to enhance their efficiency and get the best result. That saves cost also. That should be my thought, first of all. And secondly, how I can deploy. Now, many of the people in the organization, except for few technical or analytical guys, HR definitely doesn't know about it. The Google has lot of features, right? And most of the organizations are using Google Space, which are paid services. So you are, as it is, paying for that Google Space to use your domain, your email IDs and everything, right? Now Google has at least more than 70, 75, or at least 100 also features, and also integration with other relatable AI tools and technologies, which gives you the accessibility to build your own products, your own applications, using various scripting. Now, when you say scripting, it means that you have to know coding. No, not necessarily coding, because these are all no code scripting. So even if you are a HR person who has no idea about coding, you still can do scripting, because AI helps you to do those codings, right? And all this comes free. Or even if there is little charge, that's very, very nominal, negligible, I would say. So it works out very well. And since it is related to your specific domain in the Google space, your credibility of your task done inside the Google space is much, much higher than done outside the Google space. So I would say, definitely suggest that people should start using Google Space features like Google Scripting, Google Applications. Do some research work. You will find a lot of information on that and explore it. So a lot of applications you can build internally, which you can customize it. No need to be dependent on outside product. So reduce outside dependency and increase internal dependency. So that will give more work to your people inside the organization, and more work to do to make the changes, because the entire system, the source person would be the own company people who would be responsible for running it, making the changes, making the amendments, and getting the results. So that works very well,
Using
and it is cost effective.
optimizing your internal
Yeah.
resources.
So building your capability. So this will help you to build your own capability rather than dependent on the outside.
Yeah, somebody's saying yes, good, Chanel.
One good
So,
thing I would
so
like
thank
to
you.
add here.
Yeah, Soumya, yeah,
No, no,
please.
one last thing. What we did, just to answer Ms. Karpagawali, is that, what in our organization, when we were driving AI as an, the organization-wide change, we figured out from one person from each department as a AI champion. We told them, list out your processes and just divide them into two sections, those which can be automated and the one which has to be human driven program. So then we will come up with an idea how to make it an AI driven workflow system or whatever. So that helped us really, and then we didn't have to kind of downsize or increase or anything. uh,
Exactly.
like we just delegated the role, and now it's
That was
really
good.
running
So
really
that
well.
was good
Yeah,
because people
That's
felt
AI
very
champion.
safe, protected, secure, not that we are losing jobs, rather than they must
Exactly.
have taken ownership, contributed.
thank you
Great,
so
guys.
Right.
I think excellent. And I must thank all the participants. They were very, very articulate, participative, and I enjoyed doing all the sessions. And I hope I have added value. Both me and Vilma have brought value to whatever you are doing, and hope you will actually take one or two action plans with you. Yeah. Thank you, one and all, guys. Thank you.
Thank
Come
you.
back to
Thank